Thank you very much. All right. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. My name is Jason Alford, to introduce myself, and my wife is Vanessa, this lovely lady out there, and this is our three boys. All of us are deaf, the three boys and ourselves. It's genetic, and it's a fourth generation deafness in this line. About me and my background, I was born in South Africa, quite a distance away. Grew up in South Africa until early teens. There was a lot of barriers that we had over there: service provision, access to funding. South Africa wasn't as advanced as we are here. So we actually moved to New Zealand first, and I grew up in New Zealand, the exciting part of my life in New Zealand. And we had more access, but it wasn't perfect. The schooling, the interpreters, the funding, a lot of issues, big issues for a deaf family. And then we took off to Sweden, and the access was a lot better than Africa or New Zealand. Really opened my eyes to what's available over there in Europe. Then we went back to New Zealand and then had a look at Australia. And we've been here for 7 years now. I got married, got these beautiful children. And the access here is always problematic. It's a lot of hiccups. I lived in Melbourne for 5 years with my wife. And, oh, there's the photos of me. I was in Melbourne for 5 years, and I heard that they were starting something called the NDIS. Yeah, you know about that, the National Disability Insurance Scheme. That's rolling out. I thought, well, that's pretty exciting. It's getting closer and closer to the date to start. And then we decided to move to Perth for the children, because WA has got a better education system and funding access for deaf children. So we uprooted the family, moved over to here. And we found a beautiful area in Coburn to live in. And they've got the NDIS, so luckily we hit the jackpot there. We started our NDIS about 2 years ago. We were approved and we're participating in that. Massive impact. The help, the access that we have, the management that we've got, it's just been absolutely awesome. It's really, really making a huge difference. With the NDIS, the changes have helped me do a lot of things, and these are some of the changes that have hit our family pretty positively. The service provision before, I had to wait and try to access a lot of specific service accesses and see if we can get the funding from the government and apply for that. We'd have to wait again, and sometimes we were successful and sometimes we weren't as successful as we needed to be, and sometimes the services didn't quite click with us. It didn't give us exactly what we wanted. And now that we've got our own funding and self-management, we do what we need, find what we need, and access the options that we prefer. So if that provider doesn't quite cover our needs, we go to someone who suits us better as a family of 5 deaf members. And we're all individuals. We all have individual services provided for us. Same as the values. Some of the values in the organisations are, I don't know, slightly lacking from my values, different from my values. It's very difficult what they prioritise and what I prioritise as a father. And now I look for other philosophies, other values that match mine, that mirror mine, and I'll choose that over the others anytime. And funding is also, financial support is always difficult. Nothing's free, everything costs something, right? So before I needed an interpreter for a community event or meetings, AGMs, sporting AGMs, because members of the deaf community play a lot of sport, and they were all hearing. So I was like, oh, how do I get an interpreter for that? It's very rare that one was provided. And otherwise, I would have to pay myself because it was a private enterprise. So some interpreters would volunteer, and now they don't have to. Now, the NDIS, I can cover a professional interpreter for any situation I need. It covers everything. Sports, communities, recreation, education, anything. Under the education and medical, that's always been provided, so that was a bit lucky. Private courses are also covered now. And before, Better Start was one of the options that we had, Better Start funding. Have you heard of that? That was for deaf children under 8 years old, limited to that age group, and limited funding for just the 8 years. That was it, and then you're on your own after that. And I was amazed because it was only enough just to cover 8 speech therapy classes a year. 8. And that's one every 2 months for 8 years. What's the point? It's crazy. And now we've got the NDIS. We get get our speech therapy covered every year for each of our children. That's a huge difference. Once every 2 months to 3 classes a week for our 3 boys is massive. The access has really widened our scope of being included in the community. I'm now a swimming teacher, a qualified swimming teacher, and I have 6 deaf children that I teach how to swim one-on-one, because you don't want an interpreter. You can't look at the interpreter while you're trying to watch the teacher do a specific move. So I thought, no, I'm going to get my qualifications and become a swimming teacher. But because it was a private class, they weren't going to provide access to an interpreter. NDIS came up and I said, hey, can I do a course with an interpreter? And they said, yeah. Barrier was blown right open. And I spawned in there and I got my accreditation through an interpreter at the course. And now I can teach other children, other deaf children, how to swim. I feel like it's a huge value having the NDIS funding. Without that, the support from the government was very limited. It was ad hoc. It wasn't big. I wasn't confident in that. The government's got a lot of money. They hand out a lot of money, but me personally, I don't think that it was very, very limited. Now with the NDIS, I've got a lot more scope. I've got a lot more access, a lot more supports in the various ways that I would need those supports, and it's up to me to get them, and it's awesome. I think this is going to be fantastic for me, my family, and all the people who can get involved in it too. Making a change, the NDIS is hopefully going to continue to grow for the future, and hopefully for the next generations it'll be just as good as it was for me. Thank you very much.